Shana Tova. How awesome, how wonderful, how incredible it is that on this first night of this new year we have the opportunity to gather together. And how incredible it is. I think, if my math is correct, this is my 20th time leading High Holy Day services for Temple Beth Shalom. It is both seems like forever that I have stood on this bema, and also passes like a blink of the eye as we came here so many years ago with Justin, Anna, and now we added Adina and Nathaniel, and now how proud I am as a dad that Anna and Adina are off into the world and able, how incredible it is that we live in this world, that they are able to tune in on Zoom from where they are out in the world and be able to join us for these days of awe. So here we are together on this evening. And as I stand here, two things. One is I'm talking into a camera. You're all at home or in homes with family and friends watching on a screen. It is very different than having you here in the sanctuary, where we get to greet you with hugs, with smiles, with handshakes, asking how you are, getting a chance to really see and be here with all of you. It is not what we hoped for. A year ago, we said, this is the pandemic, we'll get through it. We were so poised to be back in our sanctuary, and yet here we find ourselves again in this state of staying separate in order to be safe. The other thing I will tell you is that yes, rabbis get nervous about all kinds of things as they prepare for the High Holy Days. Some of it's standing in front of people, some of it's what are you going to say, some of it is making sure all of the different pieces of a service come together. And that nervousness translates in different ways for different people. I'm one of those people that I will wake up early in the morning. I am such a morning person. And my thoughts get turning. And one of my ways sometimes to be able just to relax and chill out, not worry so much about what is going to happen here in this moment of the High Holy Days, is to watch Marvel movies. I'm a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I do actually have an entire comic book collection, and it is from the comic books of my teen years to now seeing these movies. They are an incredible source of talking about something that is science fiction to yet showing so much of the human heart. And in one of the movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, I had a chance to watch it again in the last few weeks. So we've been getting ready for the High Holy Days. And there's one scene, and I said I would be talking about Guardians of Galaxy to Megan Mash, who is here as our accompanist on piano, and to Cantor, and they both looked at me and they said, I am Groot, which, yes, is one of the best lines from the Guardians of the Galaxy. But I actually came across a different line, one that caught my attention in this day and age, in the state that we're in. It's at the very beginning of the movie, when Peter Quill, who is going to grow up to become the hero Star-Lord, is 8, 9, 10 years old, young kid, and his mother is dying of cancer. He's taken into the hospital, and he's taken into her room, and she looks at him and she says, Peter, take my hand. And she holds her hand out to him, and he is really frightened. He's unsure. His mom is about to die. He doesn't know what to do. And that moment, Peter, take my hand, is such an awesome and powerful, incredible moment as she reaches out for him. Later in the movie, the very end, in the climax, Peter now has grown up. He has been gone off into space, and he is fighting with his band of heroes and anti-heroes to save the day and stop the villain from getting something called an Infinity Stone, which if the villain gets the Infinity Stone, the villain would be able to wipe out an entire population, an entire planet. And this Infinity Stone, this Power Stone, if you take hold of it, it kind of disintegrates you. It's got some bad side effects, unless you happen to be a superpowered individual. But Peter Quill is a regular mortal human being. They reach this moment where the stone goes flying out and it's the villain trying to catch it, or it's Peter who reaches out and grabs it and takes it in his hand, and he has all of these incredible purple light effects, and he is burning up. And they're in that moment where he's trying to hold the power stone. He's trying to prevent evil from breaking loose and destruction from happening in the world. His teammates around him, specifically Gomorrah, one of the members of his crew who's been fighting Thanos, her stepfather, and trying to prevent the Infinity Stones from falling in the wrong hands. In that moment, she reaches her hand out to Peter, and she says, "Peter, take my hand," saying the same words his mother does. And in that moment, Peter flashes in his mind that memory of his mother reaching out, and he takes Gomorrah's hand, and they take Rocket's hand, and they take Drax's hand, and everybody is holding hands in that moment so that they are able to sustain each other and Peter and save the day and rescue the galaxy. It's an awesome and incredible moment. It is this moment where it is precarious. It's life and death. And there you see, with Peter, take my hand, support and care and energy going from one to the other in order to get through that experience. And I share that with you on this Erev Rosh HaShanah because it's not just a Marvel movie moment. We're not all trying to keep the Infinity Stones from getting into the wrong hands, but all of us experience those precarious moments of life and death, of needing support and care and energy from one to the other to get through those moments. There are different points we have in life, different pieces of liturgy that we have that moment of Peter, take my hand. If you look across our tradition, we will see that language of open your hand, of reach out and take hold. We see it in so many places, in so many ways. Sometimes in our tradition, in our liturgy, you'll get that phrasing of open up your hand or of reach out, and it'll be in a moment of praise. There's a line in the text of Ashrei, which is this acrostic, this incredible litany of praise, when we're appreciating the way that God opens God's hands to the blessings of life. We say, Potech et yadecha umaspil lochoch haratzon. God, open your hands so that everybody can fulfill your will. We have those moments talking about opening hands as an act of praise. There's other moments, there's other times where we use language and talking about being secure in someone's hand. In Adon Olam, Beyado afkid ruchi be'et ishan va'ira ve'im ruchi gaviati Adonai li velo ira. And I share the translation from the musical version of this from Craig Taubman. My soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. O God, hold me in your hand. We say this in various moments. Those words, Beyado afkid ruchi, God, hold me, protect me in your hand. We say it as we are getting ready to go to sleep. Sleep is 1/60th of death. We say it in those moments where we find ourselves in the valley of the shadow of death. Those words, Beyado afkid ruchi be'et ishan va'ira, my soul I give to you, I shall not fear. Hold me, O God, in your hand. We say it in those moments when we seek that sense of the open hands of the transcendent, that we need the energy of something eternal and infinite to protect us when we're vulnerable. That imagery, Peter, take my hand, it repeats. It's woven. It is a thread that we see in our liturgy, that we see in our stories. It's not just Marvel movie magic. It's powerful language. It's a powerful vision. It's a powerful illustration, an expression for us to use. So often we use it, and it's a blessing of praise take your hand. It's a request for protection when we feel vulnerable. But each one of those examples that I cite to you, it's somebody calling out and saying, I feel vulnerable. I feel unsure, or I feel blessed. I feel like I have so much that I have been given. And we look to the one who opens the hands. Tonight, as I share that with you, there was a different piece of liturgy that came to mind when I thought about that moment. Peter, take my hand. So I went through those list of references, that image of the outstretched hand. Something different came to mind. It's the prayer, Al Netilat Yadayim. It's a prayer that we say when you wash your hands. Judaism is fascinating, has this incredible body of literature, this whole theology that we have, that there is something of physical, unclean, or impure that impacts us spiritually. When we come in contact with the dead, when we touch blood, when we touch in something that is a creepy crawly, some type of bodily emissions, we get this impure, the state of impurity. It doesn't mean we have dirt on us. It means that that physical contact is impacting us, that we need to do rituals of purification in order to then approach the holy once again. We say it before meal times. Before you say hamotzi, you're supposed to wash your hands to all of that stuff from the everyday life. Don't bring that with you to the table. When you come out of a bathroom, when you depart a cemetery. Each of those are moments where we're separating ourselves, where we need that transition from what's come before, where we're facing morality or facing fragility. We wash our hands and we say that blessing to physically and spiritually leave that stuff behind and to clean ourselves, to ready ourselves to do ritual or to engage something powerful in life. I teach that to you because that image of Peter, take my hand, when I say Al Netilat Yadayim, and I'm thinking really about being in a cemetery. When I'm coming out of a cemetery and I wash my hands, Al Netilat Yadayim, I've been in that place of death, in that place of loss. Being with families in their most vulnerable and broken, they are sad, the fabric of their life is torn. And when you go and you wash your hands, one of the things, the opposite of what, I don't really want to reach out and start touching people in that moment. I need the washing of hands to kind of do the opposite, to close down. I want to put my hands in my pocket. I want to separate from the world, at least for a moment, because in that moment, I need that space. I'm feeling that sense of unclean, of impure, of fragility, of mortality, of loss. And yet, what does our tradition have us do? In those moments, our tradition has us actually do the opposite. Al Netilat Yadayim. In those moments where we might, coming out of the bathroom, do you really want to shake someone's hand? Coming out of the cemetery? Right before you eat? In those moments where you want to put your hands in so they don't have contact, Al Netilat Yadayim. We lift our hands, to look at our hands, to reach out. Peter, take my hand. Instead of drawing back in and shielding and protecting and withdrawing, we do the opposite, lifting our hands so that we can reach out physically and spiritually in order to connect and care. Beautiful. It's powerful. It's something I need in this moment. Peter, take my hand. It's so important and vital. Because right now, look at us. Just struck me so hard in this year. We are separated so far. We have all of these screens separating us. When we do get chances, and we hope you'll join us for Tashlich tomorrow afternoon, or for Honey and Havdalah on Saturday afternoon, when we are in person, what do we have to do? We have to put on masks. We have to physically distance. We have to remember, don't shake hands. Don't hug each other. Give everybody distance. It's harder and harder right now, especially to feel connected. It's Rosh Hashanah. We don't have an oneg. We don't have handshakes and hugs. How long has it been since I've seen so many of you in person? This is a night when our sanctuary would be full to overflowing, and I would see all of you and greet all of you, especially in this moment, especially on this Rosh Hashanah, especially in this time where every instinct and every instruction is to withdraw and protect and distance. Now is the time. We have to look for those ways, to look for those moments, to look for those opportunities. Peter, take my hand, opening our hands and reaching out. And no, it's not going to be literal in the same way as in the past, but if we're a bit creative, if we are mindful, we can make that impact. Peter, take my hand. All natilat yadayim. Our world in this state needs more in safe ways, but needs more open hands as we have to shelter more. In this new year, in this year of 5,782, open up your hands, reach out. It is time in this moment to look for those ways, reaching out to each other, offering to each other, to find those ways to support and share and protect and bless with open hands, literally and figuratively. Let this year be a year of reaching out to draw people into the circle of caring, whether it's someone who just randomly crosses your path, or it's somebody in a significant relationship, or it's into the circle of our caring community. Let us lift our hands and reach out to create shalom. And I don't just use that because it's shalom. Oh, Rabbi, you like to say wholeness, harmony, and peace. I mean it in its truest and fullest sense. Shalom means that we're all interconnected into something greater than the sum of our parts. This year, as we are pulled apart, let us lift and open our hands, reaching out to draw one another in. Amen. Good Yontif. Ken Yiratzon. Let that be God's will in this new year.